Hello guys, this is my first video with City Skylines. I just wanted to show my new city I'm starting. I of course just started off by getting all the tiles ready and then getting the expressways all set up. With all the cities I build, I tend to start with the expressways first and then build around them. And here's the funny part, there's a hill I didn't recognize when I was making it. So I was either gonna make a tunnel, or I was like, actually we're just gonna flatten this hill out because it shouldn't even be there. And then I had to make the other side of the expressway. That way it's not just a one-way. That wouldn't be too good. And then I had to redo that because that was awful. There we go. And then I had to start making the entrance ramps to this new expressway since it wasn't already there. And I just kind of made it pretty typical, nothing too fancy about it. Kind of merged together, created its lanes. And then just the other side. Making it look pretty. And then just finishing that up real quick. And then just making sure the other side looks good. And then just making all the elevation changes pretty smooth instead of real jumpy. Now for the actual city building part, I went through several different phases. This one was just the very first. I was like, all right, we're just gonna make it intersection and kind of like maybe do a downtown. And if you can't already tell, I am very sporadic when I'm building my cities. So I was just trying to build like the city center at first. And now I'm building the railroad tracks that I forgot about that I had to remove. This is also another favorite part of mine, just to draw the lines. So essentially what I do is just like click, drag, and just makes the lines look complete instead of just how City Skylines normally does. And then I messed up, of course, so I had to redo that, make it look all pretty. If you haven't drawn the lines before, I recommend do it. Like, if you're starting out, it's really fun. It sounds really boring, but really exciting just to draw the lines. And I promise you, I did draw the other side. I just decided to hop into like how I built my city. This is the first iteration of it. I built like a little like residential like part of the town with like schools, and there's a park in there, and then all the other utilities. And then had to build the electric. There's this asset that I found on the workshop. It's just like a solar panel array, and you can build them just as much as you like, and you can copy paste them and make a whole solar field. So I've been doing this, and then there's also underground power lines that I found. They look I mean, obviously you can't see them, but they fit in perfectly. And then here I was just designing my high school just to have all of the related sports facilities, and then I ended up building a parking lot shortly after. Also messed up with the terrain. But yeah, I've been playing City Skylines for about, I don't know, maybe half a year now. Still getting used to it. And then here's where I start building the parking lot for the high school, since everyone needs to park at school. Just trying to level out the area for the parking lot, that way it's not all hilly. And then here's where I actually placed the parking lot, just have plenty of spots. Now all the houses are being built nearby. But they're also complaining about water because there's no water in this city yet, so it's okay. Then I finally give them what they want, water and sewage. There's just another asset that combines the water and sewage into like just a little like tank thing. It doesn't need any connections or anything. It isn't too realistic, but it gets the job done. And then I just kind of expand the neighborhood here. I was going for like a standard, just basic downtown with this like grid. And then later on, I plan to have like more suburban, like sprawled out areas. Alright, so in this, I actually got rid of the circle that I had going in the like downtown area. And I also decided just to redo like how I had the downtown in a way. I wanted it to be able to support like the urban buildings, the high density, which is what it's called in the game. And then I just kind of designed the town around that. I might not be like super into City Skylines, like mod wise and making sure everything's super realistic, but just making like the like normal stuff like this is just really fun. I like making the different subdivisions within each city and designing them just to be unique. So there's like a hill that is behind this neighborhood, and I pretty much didn't let any road get past it just to keep everything like level in this neighborhood. Later on, I'm gonna have suburban developments and neighborhoods up there just because like that feels natural. Just building some schools for everyone, making sure everyone gets where they need to be. I don't know if I show it here, but there is a school bus line that just goes around the neighborhood. Might have added to that after I stopped recording. I also recently just purchased the Park Life DLC. So that big area in the downtown area, it will eventually be a city park. Wasn't built in this, though. I tried messing around with a water source because I didn't like having the giant pond looking thing in like a downtown area. So I found a sewage pipe that actually doesn't pollute anything into the water. So I put that at the very end of the river and then just put a normal water pump. But I actually tried doing a water pump that I found on the workshop, but it wouldn't make near enough water for how much I needed. And it was just kind of weird how you placed it and everything. I ended up just building an access road along the train tracks in the perimeter of the city. So it has access to the water facilities, like the several like pump things. The water facilities are on that service road. And then back downtown, I realized that I built it on a hill once again. This map was very hilly and it's just hard to see. So I just flattened out the city a little bit because I just didn't feel like there should be a hill that dramatic right along the river. I also wanted to put a park along the riverfront at some point. This is when I started getting a little more artistic with the neighborhoods because it's going to be farther from the city center, so it'll be less grid and more curvy. Many of the American small towns are set up in this way, and that's what I was really going for. There's a lot of circles, and then stuff is housed inside the circle that is like grid. And then for the suburban area, I just decided to build the main road up on the hill just to get a reference point of where it will be. And obviously you can't just have a straight line going up the mountain, so I had to make it a little twisty. It's a little curvy still, but I did want the grid to still be in there. So I just kind of combined both by having curvy roads and then just the straight sections also. And then here's where I built the new downtown. I put a road immediately against the river. I'm not sure if I'll keep that, but for now I'll leave it there and then probably build the wall against the river. I wanted the city to flow, but still have just like the standard grid style. So I just constantly have sections that are like this, they go from straight to curve. I also left a lot of green space for future city parks. I just feel like there's a lot of missed opportunity with city parks. And it's also just realistic to have, parks everywhere. And then this railroad track was a little too far from the highway. I decided to move it, that way I could have a little bit longer of a downtown. And also have the railroad track not against the road. That way it looks decent when buildings are placed right against it. So I just went ahead and moved that real quick. Alright, and then since that's fixed, I decided to just extend the downtown just a little bit more. Just to keep it from looking like a rectangle. The garbage facilities I keep using are actually a zero emission garbage facility. So it just doesn't pollute anything, but it still gets rid of your garbage. So it's a really cool mod. Over here, I decided I wanted farmland. It's already... the resource over here is already farmland. So I decided to build a little highway, and then once again, I just am very sporadic. So I had to make another interstate exit, or highway exit, whatever you want to call it. And then I was just messing around over here. I just wanted to see the bridge. Just a standard entrance exit. There's a mod that I have that is a roundabout builder. I feel like this intersection would benefit for being a roundabout. That way, no one has to stop if they don't need to. So I just kind of terraformed around it. And then it worked. Water for the rest of my citizens. They're a little thirsty. Over here I built another high school just with its facilities and whatnot. I didn't build a parking lot for this one just because I feel like people can walk or just drive and, park on the street. And just kind of finishing that area, I wanted the suburban neighborhood zen. Had to make sure to follow the hill and make sure there's no steep roads or anything that was too unrealistic. I made several connections just to the grid area. I felt that it's just how it would be if it was real. A lot of space between each area. I was very hesitant to connect those two roads, but I felt like the road was just a little bit too steep for connecting those. But then I ended up just doing it at a slanted angle. And just kind of kept going with the curvy theme, connecting it to the other roads that are already existing. I wanted this area to feel like a richer section of the neighborhood. And I might end up building like a restaurant or two at the top of the hill and having like a small urban and having like a small like commercial zoned area. On this side of the neighborhood, I was very hesitant to make another entrance. Most neighborhoods only have one entrance, but in City Skylines, it'd be kind of unrealistic just because of the amount of traffic you'd get. So this neighborhood has several entrances, and I just felt like it didn't need another one. I placed a few schools throughout the area. Just elementary and high school. Nothing too fancy. The police station, the medical place, fire station, all of that good stuff. Keeping everyone safe. Last but not least, I had to build the place where they burn the dead bodies. Always a cute thing to see. Everyone just be so excited about being placed right next to their house. And then decided to build the water pipes for everyone. Make sure they have water. And here's the area where I might do a commercial section. I had to make it a little more even and flat just because it's on such a hill. And all of the commercial assets I have that are like real restaurants look best when it's on a flat spot. So I just kind of altered the terrain to make it fit in a little bit better. I was going to build a grocery store over here, but I felt like that was just too big of a facility on top of a hill. I might go back later on and add just a small little restaurant or two. But in the meantime, I just decided to smooth out the terrain once again and just kind of leave it as is for now. I ended up making those extra neighborhood entrances just because like the move-in traffic always gets really bad. So I just wanted to be able to handle it, and then it's just a few more entrances. It's not going to hurt anyone. You've made it this far in the video, so I'm going to ask you a question. When you're zoning like this, do you use the paint bucket tool, the grid, like the selection of the grid, or do you use the small or big circle? As you can see, I use definitely almost all of them. I never use the small circle just because it doesn't really do me any good. Most of the time I can do anything with the other tools. Everyone's got electric, everyone's got water. Looking good for everyone. Except for the people that built away from the electric grid. I ended up making a farm industry area. Just kind of very sporadic gravel, dirt roads. And then it ended up getting its own entrance and exits for the expressway. I did not have enough electricity for everyone that was just moving in, so I decided to duplicate my solar panel arrays. and then make sure there's enough for everyone. Right here, I didn't have enough space to build like a ramp that would go up, so I was just determined to curve that road a little bit and then make the entrance ramp look all nice. And then long entrance and exit ramps, just because when it gets backed up, I want it to be on the exit ramp and not the actual road itself. And initially, I was only going to build one entrance and exit, but I decided to build one at both ends, just to help with the traffic, because the industrial areas always get really bad backed up. And then last but not least with this area, I just zoned it as farming, industrial. Later on, I might go back and change it to the actual industries DLC stuff. But in the meantime, I just wanted it to be just a little farm area. And then there's all their farms, they're popping up. And then last but not least, I added just more electric for that area. And thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and just let me know what you'd like to see in the future.